Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to tell you may shake the very foundation of your heart. Someone close to you is about to test you. Yes, someone you trust, someone you love, someone you call family, friend, or companion. They are about to reveal the true measure of your spirit. And when that moment comes, God will not look at your anger. He will not measure your complaints. He will see your faith, your patience, your endurance. And let me warn you, this is not a small test. This is a defining moment. This is the moment where your character will either rise or crumble. The closer they are to you, the sharper the test, the greater the temptation to respond in fear, in frustration, in doubt. But hear me now. God is watching, and He is preparing you for this. Do not mistake this test for betrayal. Do not confuse their actions with defeat. The people God places around you, your closest allies, your loved ones, sometimes become the instruments through which your faith is strengthened. Sometimes God allows those closest to you to test your patience, to test your commitment to righteousness, to test whether you will remain anchored in faith when the waves crash violently against you. When that person challenges you, when they push your limits, when they try your resolve, know this: God is using them to stretch you into the fullness of your calling. If you respond with fear, resentment, or retaliation, you miss the divine lesson. But if you respond with unwavering trust, if you stand firm in your convictions, if you anchor your heart in God, then you will come out stronger, higher, more unshakable than ever before. Do not be deceived by appearances. The person who tests you may act with selfishness, with pride, with hurtful words, or with betrayal. But remember this: God sees all things. God sees the heart behind every action, every word, every silent thought. When they try you, when they provoke you, when they seek to shake your foundation, it is not the end. It is the beginning of something greater. God does not waste trials. Every test is a tool for your elevation. Every challenge from someone close is a divine signal that God is preparing you for a higher level of spiritual maturity, a deeper measure of faith, a greater capacity to carry His light. Do not respond in haste. When someone close tests you, the first instinct is often to lash out, to retaliate, to say words that wound more than heal. But the truly faithful know that silence, patience, and prayer are sharper than the sword. The one who tests you may seek to see anger in your eyes, bitterness in your heart, doubt in your soul. But when you respond with calm, with righteousness, with steadfast devotion to God, they will see power they cannot understand. The one who tests you will fail to break you, because God is your shield. God is your strength. God is the calm in the storm, the fire in your heart, the wisdom guiding every step. You must understand this. Tests from those close to you are not accidental. God allows them for a reason. Often, the person who challenges you reflects the areas in your life that require refinement. They reveal the hidden fears, the unhealed wounds, the untested patience within you. And if you let your faith lead you, if you respond with love guided by God, you will emerge from the test purified, strengthened, and empowered. This is not about them. This is about you. This is about your spiritual maturity. This is about whether you will remain unwavering, anchored in divine truth, or whether you will falter under the pressure of human weakness. Do not seek revenge, for vengeance belongs to God alone. When someone tests you, it is easy to think about how to respond, to plan, to scheme, to protect your pride. But let me tell you, every act of retaliation only ensnares you further. God calls you to rise above human impulses. God calls you to respond in a way that is pure, noble, and faithful. When you respond from the heart of God, when your actions are guided by His wisdom, when your words are filled with righteousness, you become untouchable. The one who seeks to test you becomes powerless before the faith that flows through you. Remember this: trials from someone close are often the highest form of honor. God trusts you with the test because He knows you have the potential to rise. He knows you can carry the weight of disappointment without falling into despair. He knows you can face betrayal without losing sight of truth. Every test is a divine opportunity to demonstrate the power of God within you. Every challenge is a platform to show that your faith is not superficial, that your commitment is not fragile, that your spirit cannot be shaken by the weaknesses of others. You must stand firm. When the one closest to you challenges your patience, questions your motives, or attacks your integrity, stand firm. Do not bend under the pressure. Do not compromise your values. Do not allow anger, bitterness, or hurt to dictate your response. Let God be your guide. Let His wisdom flow through your words. Let His strength fill your heart. Every word you speak, every action you take should reflect God's light, God's justice, God's love. And when you respond in this way, the one who tests you will recognize a power they cannot touch, a peace they cannot disturb, a presence they cannot comprehend. Do not fear. The test from someone close may come with threats, with emotional storms, with moments that make you question your path, your decisions, your purpose. But fear is the enemy of faith. Fear is the tool that seeks to bind you, to silence you, to make you doubt the power of God within you. When fear comes, rise above it. Stand tall in the assurance that God is with you. God is your protector, your counselor, your source of strength. No test, no betrayal, no attempt to break you can succeed when God is on your side. And know this: forgiveness is your weapon. The person who tests you may not understand, may not apologize, may not even recognize the trial they are placing before you. But forgiveness does not require their understanding. Forgiveness flows from God. When you forgive, you free yourself from the chains of bitterness. When you forgive, you show the world that your faith is not dependent on human recognition. When you forgive, you become an instrument of God's power, a vessel through which divine love flows, unstoppable and unconquerable. Do not underestimate the spiritual dimension of these tests. Every challenge from someone close is more than a social or emotional situation. It is a spiritual battle. God allows this test because there are forces seeking to exploit weakness, to create division, to ignite anger, to plant seeds of despair. But God also gives you the weapon of faith. God gives you the armor of righteousness. God gives you the power to overcome, to rise, to shine. Stand in prayer, cling to his wisdom, speak with words filled with light, act with hands guided by justice, and you will emerge victorious. The one who tests you may think they have power, but they have no power over a heart anchored in God. Do not rely on your own strength. It is tempting to think you can handle the test with your intellect, your cunning, your emotional control. But human strength is limited. Human understanding is flawed. Only God can provide the endurance, the wisdom, the courage necessary to face someone close without compromise. Turn to God in prayer. Seek his guidance. Ask for his eyes to see clearly, his ears to hear rightly, his heart to respond with love and wisdom. When you do, you will navigate the test flawlessly, with grace, with dignity, with divine favor. And remember, God's timing is perfect. The one testing you may push, provoke, or frustrate you, but every test has a limit. God knows the exact moment to bring resolution, to reveal truth, to open eyes, and to restore balance. Trust in God's timing. Do not rush. Do not pressure. Do not force outcomes. Stay faithful. Stay patient. Stay unwavering. And when God moves, all will be revealed. All will be set right. And all will glorify his name. Do not despair. The betrayal or challenge from someone close can feel like a wound deep within the soul. But wounds, when held in faith, become the places where God's power flows strongest. The test you face is not the end. It is the proving ground of your spirit. Each moment of patience, each act of righteousness, each word spoken in wisdom, each silence held in faith is a brick building your spiritual legacy. You are being refined, strengthened, and prepared for the fullness of God's purpose in your life. Do not let the actions of others dictate your faith. The one who tests you may act unjustly, may speak harshly, may attempt to twist reality, but your faith must remain unshakable. Your trust in God must remain steadfast. Your love, guided by divine wisdom, must remain untarnished. When you anchor yourself in God, no test, no betrayal, no challenge can uproot you. You become immovable, unshakable, invincible in spirit. And finally, remember this: God is glorified through your endurance. Every test from someone close is an opportunity for God to display his power through you. Every act of patience is a testimony of his strength. Every response of righteousness is a reflection of his wisdom. The closer the one testing you, the greater the opportunity to demonstrate the depth of God's work within your life. Stand firm, trust completely, forgive freely, act wisely, and you will not only overcome, you will shine as a beacon of God's glory in a world desperate to witness his power. Listen to me now and hear every word with the deepest part of your soul. The one who is closest to you, the one whose presence has been a comfort, a joy, a refuge, is about to reveal the strength of your spirit. God is not surprised by this. God has prepared you for this hour. He has been shaping your heart, molding your character, teaching you endurance through every quiet moment of prayer, every act of patience, every tear shed in secret. And now, when the trial comes, you will realize that God has already equipped you. You are not entering this test empty-handed. You carry within you the wisdom, the courage, and the power of God Himself. Do not be deceived by the suddenness of it. Tests from someone close often arrive like lightning, flashing through the sky without warning. One moment all is calm, one moment trust is intact, and the next confusion strikes and doubt begins to whisper. You may ask, why, God? Why must it come from the ones I love? Listen carefully. God is teaching you to rise above comfort. God is teaching you to draw strength from Himself alone. When those closest to you challenge your faith, they are not your enemies. They are instruments of your refinement. God allows these moments to reveal the depth of your patience, the clarity of your discernment, and the immovability of your faith. Remember this: the measure of your spirit is revealed not when all is ease. Not when everyone praises you. Not when life moves according to your plans. No, the true measure comes when the ones who should understand you, support you, or affirm you turn and test your limits. When they speak words that sting, when they act in ways that wound, when they seem blind to your intentions, your response will echo in eternity. Will you respond in bitterness or in faith? Will you yield to frustration or will you anchor yourself firmly in God? The choice you make in that moment will define the rest of your spiritual journey. You must guard your heart, not from the world, not from strangers, but from the one closest to you who, knowingly or unknowingly, may become the crucible through which your faith is forged. Do not allow your emotions to dictate your response. Do not allow pride to control your tongue. Do not allow fear to bind your steps. God has placed within you a spirit of strength, a heart of discernment, and a mind attuned to His wisdom. Speak only what God would have you speak. Act only in alignment with God's will. Let your silence be strategic. Let your words be measured. Let your actions reflect the divine presence within you. Do not underestimate the subtlety of this test. Sometimes the trial will not arrive with noise, with confrontation, or with visible hostility. Sometimes it comes in the form of neglect, misunderstanding, or unspoken disappointment. The one closest to you may not even intend harm, but God allows their actions to challenge you, to push you to higher levels of faith. It is in the silent moments, the overlooked provocations, the subtle challenges that your spiritual muscles are strengthened. And when you rise unmoved by the small fires of doubt and misunderstanding, God will smile upon you, for you have demonstrated mastery over what others could not see. Do not forget, patience is not weakness. Patience is not submission to injustice. Patience is power. Patience is the shield that protects your spirit from the corrosive influence of anger and resentment. When someone close tests you, every moment you remain calm, every word you choose carefully, every action guided by God, you become untouchable. The one who seeks to provoke you may think they have influence, but their power is limited by the divine strength within you. Every act of restraint, every choice to trust God rather than human emotion is a victory, invisible yet eternal. Understand this: your heart will be tempted to revenge, to speak harshly, to judge swiftly. But let me tell you, vengeance belongs to God. God will act in His perfect timing, and when He moves, all injustice will be revealed, all hidden truths exposed, all wrongs corrected. Your role is not to retaliate, but to remain faithful. Your role is not to repay anger with anger, but to mirror the love and wisdom of God. When you rise above the fray, when you respond with the purity of spirit God commands, the one who tests you becomes a witness to divine power. They may have intended harm, but they will instead display the greatness of God working through you. Do not shrink back from confrontation, but do not engage with the spirit of the world. Confrontation does not mean argument. It does not mean ego-driven debate. Confrontation means standing firm in God, maintaining integrity, holding fast to truth, and allowing divine wisdom to guide your every step. When the one close to you tests you, see beyond their actions, see beyond their words, and discern the lesson God is sending. There is wisdom hidden in every trial, clarity waiting to be revealed, strength to be gained that cannot be obtained any other way. Know this: endurance through testing is one of the highest forms of faith. There is a glory that surrounds those who endure when no one is watching, who remain righteous when all else is chaos, who forgive when forgiveness seems impossible. God honors those who endure. God strengthens those who are tested. God elevates those who do not break under pressure. And the closer the one testing you, the greater the glory, the deeper the honor, the more profound the testimony of your faith. Do not fear the judgments of others. The one who tests you may question your motives, may speak ill of you, may attempt to undermine your integrity. But God knows your heart. God knows your intentions. God knows your struggles. And when you remain steadfast, God will vindicate you in ways that no human can. Your faith becomes a fortress. Your patience becomes a shield. Your wisdom becomes a lamp that lights the path not only for yourself, but for others who are watching. Do not allow bitterness to take root. Bitterness is a poison that clouds your vision, hardens your heart, and blinds you to God's guidance. When someone close tests you, forgive in your heart even before forgiveness is spoken. Release resentment even before it surfaces. Anchor yourself in God's love so deeply that the waves of provocation cannot disturb you. And in that sacred space of divine peace, you will find clarity, direction, and the courage to respond in a way that magnifies God's glory. Understand the spiritual magnitude of this trial. Tests from those close are rarely mere coincidences. They are spiritual instruments carefully placed by God, designed to expose hidden weaknesses, sharpen discernment, deepen understanding, and strengthen faith. The closer the one who challenges you, the greater the opportunity to grow, the higher the calling to rise, the deeper the connection to God's divine purpose. Every moment of discomfort, every pang of disappointment, every second of emotional turbulence is a divine invitation to rise above, to elevate your spirit, and to manifest the power of God within you. Do not rely on human understanding. Your own perspective is limited. The one testing you may appear justified, may appear righteous, may appear wise, but God sees beyond the surface. God knows the hidden motives, the unseen intentions, the spiritual implications. Turn to God in every moment of uncertainty. Seek His guidance in every decision, His wisdom in every word, His strength in every action. When you allow God to guide you, when you lean fully on His understanding, you will navigate the most treacherous of human tests with clarity, grace, and power. Do not forget the power of prayer. Prayer is not simply asking for resolution. Prayer is aligning your spirit with God's will. Prayer is drawing divine strength into your heart, illuminating your mind with wisdom, and steadying your soul with faith. When someone close tests you, pray, not for their downfall, not for their correction, but for divine insight, for patience, for the courage to respond rightly, for the clarity to act in alignment with God. Prayer transforms ordinary endurance into extraordinary victory. And finally, know this: God is glorified through your trials. The one who tests you may think they are creating chaos, sowing doubt, or weakening your faith, but they are, in truth, setting the stage for God's glory to shine through you. Every act of patience, every choice to forgive, every moment of unwavering faith becomes a testament to God's power, a living proof that His presence within you is greater than any human challenge. When you emerge from this trial, the world will see not only that you have overcome, but that God's hand has guided you, strengthened you, and exalted you. Now listen carefully, for this is a truth that cannot be ignored. The one who is close to you, the one whose presence has been constant in your life, is about to reveal the depth of your faith. God allows these moments to come not as punishment, not as a curse, but as a sacred instrument to refine your spirit. In the silence of betrayal, in the sting of misunderstanding, in the subtle pressure of disappointment, God's hand is present. Every challenge placed before you, every test from someone near is a divine invitation to rise beyond what you thought possible. It is an opportunity to demonstrate that your faith is not superficial, that your heart is not fragile, and that your spirit is anchored in God alone. You may ask yourself, why does it have to be someone so close? Why does the pain come from the ones I love? Listen to me. God does not choose the path of ease. God does not hand out tests to strangers alone, to those far removed from your heart. No, the greatest tests come from within the circle of trust, from the hearth of intimacy, from the sanctuary of relationships. Why? Because God knows that if you can remain steadfast in the face of those you love, if you can act with patience and righteousness toward those who challenge your soul, then your faith becomes unshakable. Then your spirit becomes a fortress. Then you become a living witness to God's power, wisdom, and mercy. Do not underestimate the spiritual weight of this trial. The one close to you may speak words that wound, act in ways that confuse, or withhold support when you expect it most. This is the refining fire, the testing of the gold. Gold is valuable, but it is not valuable until it has passed through the furnace. Diamonds are brilliant, but only after enduring pressure deep within the earth. Your faith, your character, your spirit These are being refined, and the closer the one who tests you, the hotter the fire, the greater the pressure, and the brighter the brilliance that will emerge. Do not allow your emotions to be the guide. In moments of testing, the heart Fetten wants to react with anger. The mind wants to justify retaliation, and the soul whispers despair. But God calls you higher. God calls you to rise above emotion, to act in the clarity of faith, to speak words filled with divine wisdom, and to respond in alignment with His will. When someone close tests you, it is not a signal to strike back. It is a signal to stand firm, to pray, to listen, to act only as God directs. Your restraint, your patience, your faithfulness, these become a living testimony, a proclamation of God's presence within you that no human action can ever diminish. Remember this: forgiveness is not an act for them. Forgiveness is a gift to yourself, a tool for liberation, a channel for God's power. The one who tests you may never recognize the pain they cause, may never seek reconciliation, may never even understand the trial they are presenting. But God sees, and God is the ultimate arbiter of justice. When you forgive in secret, when you release the weight of anger in the quiet corners of your heart, you open the floodgates for divine wisdom, peace, and strength to flow. You become untouchable because your power is no longer in the hands of human circumstance. It is in the hands of God. Do not mistake inaction for weakness. Standing firm in the face of a close one's challenge is not passivity. It is the demonstration of spiritual mastery. When the one testing you speaks harshly, acts unfairly, or seeks to provoke, your calm, your measured words, your actions rooted in God's guidance are sharper than any weapon. Your endurance becomes a light in the darkness, a signal to the unseen forces at work that your spirit is fortified, protected, and guided by God alone. The closer they are, the greater the opportunity for God to display His glory through your conduct. You must also understand the subtleties of intention. The one who tests you may not even intend to harm you. Their actions may be flawed, misguided, or driven by their own weaknesses. But God knows that even in their mistakes, your faith is being shaped. God uses human imperfection to demonstrate divine perfection. Every misstep, every hurtful word, every moment of tension is an opportunity for you to act with the wisdom, love, and integrity that only God can provide. And when you act in this way, when your responses are guided by divine insight rather than human impulse, the results are powerful, transformative, and eternal. Do not allow pride to mask your discernment. Pride tells us to respond, to defend, to assert. Pride whispers that your perception is absolute, that your understanding is complete, that your feelings must dictate action. But God calls you to humility, to discernment, to the wisdom that comes only from Him. When you act from God's guidance rather than your ego, you navigate the challenges of someone close with a clarity that confounds human expectation and demonstrates divine strength. Your humility becomes your power, your restraint becomes your victory, and your faith becomes unshakable. Do not fear isolation, for the one testing you may create distance, tension, or confusion. But remember, God is your companion, your counselor, your source of unwavering support. When the ones closest to you become instruments of challenge, God fills the void with guidance, protection, and insight. You are never truly alone. God walks with you in the silence, whispers wisdom in your heart, and strengthens you with a presence beyond what eyes can see. Your endurance becomes a beacon, not only for yourself, but for others who witness God's power through your response. Do not underestimate the spiritual resonance of this trial. Every moment of measured restraint, every act of love when provoked, every silent prayer for wisdom strengthens not only your spirit, but the spiritual fabric around you. When you rise above the testing of someone close, you become a channel of divine power, a conduit through which God's wisdom and patience are made manifest. Your response radiates, your spirit illuminates, and your faith becomes a shield against future trials. The one testing you may think they wield influence, but God has already secured victory through your steadfastness. Understand that endurance through close trials is not optional. It is essential. To falter when tested by someone near is to allow human weakness to overshadow divine power. To respond in anger is to let the circumstances of life dictate your faith. But to stand firm, to act with patience, wisdom, and righteousness, to allow God's hand to guide every response, is to rise to the fullness of your calling. Every test from someone close is a divine opportunity to demonstrate strength, integrity, and unwavering faith. Every trial is a sacred instrument shaping you into a vessel worthy of God's power. You must also recognize the subtle power of silence. Words spoken in haste can wound, can escalate, can give power to what should be left in God's hands. When someone close tests you, allow silence to be your ally. Allow reflection, prayer, and discernment to shape your next move. Let God's wisdom guide your voice. Let His strength guide your actions. And let your calm become a force that disarms tension, diffuses conflict, and manifests the divine presence in a way no human can comprehend. Do not allow the test to become an excuse for despair. Even when disappointment cuts deep, even when the one you trusted seems unrecognizable in their challenge, even when betrayal threatens to shake your soul, understand this: God's hand is moving in the midst of it all. The test is temporary, but the wisdom, endurance, and spiritual growth you gain are eternal. Every challenge from someone close is a divine lesson, an opportunity to demonstrate faith, a call to rise higher than circumstance. And when you emerge, you will see that what was meant to test you was in truth a catalyst for your elevation, for your purpose, and for God's glory. Now hear me with the intensity of your heart, because the hour is near. The one who is closest to you is about to test the very core of your being. God allows this not to break you, not to humiliate you, not to bring despair, but to reveal your strength, to refine your spirit, to awaken a level of faith that can only be born in the furnace of trial. Do not shrink back from this moment. Do not fear the pain, the tension, the confusion. These are the instruments of God's wisdom. Understand this: the test from someone close is more than circumstance. It is a spiritual awakening. The one who challenges you may speak harsh words, may act unjustly, may withhold understanding. But every action, every word, every subtle motion carries a lesson, a call to rise, and an opportunity to respond in alignment with God's will. When God allows a loved one to test you, He is saying, I trust you with this moment. I trust your heart to reflect my wisdom. I trust your spirit to remain unshaken. What a profound responsibility. What a sacred calling. You are not merely surviving a test. You are participating in the unfolding of God's power in your life. Do not misread the test as betrayal. Human hearts are flawed, human actions are imperfect, and those closest to us are not always instruments of understanding. But God sees the heart. God knows the intention behind every action. What appears as opposition, as hurt, as conflict, is in reality a divine lesson, a chance to cultivate patience, humility, and unwavering faith. When the one closest to you challenges your spirit, you have a choice: to respond with anger, resentment, and fear, or to respond with faith, wisdom, and steadfast trust in God. Choose wisely, because your choice will echo far beyond this moment. Do not let pride or ego dictate your response. When someone close tests you, the instinct is often to defend, to explain, to assert yourself. But God calls you higher. True strength is found not in defending your honor, but in surrendering your impulses to Him. True victory is found not in striking back, but in standing firm in divine wisdom. True power is not in controlling the circumstances, but in controlling your spirit, allowing God to guide your every word, your every thought, and your every action. When you rise in this way, the one testing you becomes a witness not to human skill, but to God's presence within you. You must embrace patience as a weapon. Patience is not weakness. Patience is power. When someone close tests you, every moment of restraint is a demonstration of divine strength. Every silence in the face of provocation is a fortress for your soul. Every measured word spoken with wisdom from God is a testimony to the power that flows from faith. The closer the person, the sharper the challenge, the greater the opportunity for God to display His glory through your endurance. Do not dare estimate the subtlety of the test. Sometimes it will not arrive with confrontation, with argument, with noise. Sometimes it comes through small betrayals, through misunderstanding, through quiet neglect. These moments are no less powerful than open conflict. In fact, they are often more challenging because they test your spirit in silence, when no one else sees, when no one else can measure the effort it takes to remain faithful. God is present even in these unseen battles, preparing you for victory, shaping your character, and establishing your legacy of unwavering faith. Do not rely on your own understanding. The human mind is limited, the human heart is flawed, and the emotions are fickle. Only God can provide clarity, discernment, and strength. When you are tested by someone close, seek God's guidance in every step. Pray for wisdom, pray for patience, pray for courage, pray for the ability to act rightly in every circumstance. God's insight will illuminate the path that human reasoning cannot see. God's strength will empower the actions that human effort cannot sustain. God's timing will bring resolution that human planning cannot achieve. Forgiveness must become your anchor. The one who tests you may not apologize. They may not even understand the impact of their actions. But forgiveness is not for them. It is for you. Forgiveness allows your heart to remain free, your spirit to remain pure, and your faith to remain strong. When you forgive, you release the chains of bitterness, resentment, and anger that threaten to weaken your soul. You create space for God's power to move unhindered in your life, and you demonstrate that your faith is anchored not in human approval, but in divine truth. Do not fear isolation. The one testing you may create tension, push you away, or seek to dominate the situation. But remember this: God is with you. God never abandons, never forsakes, never fails. When human relationships falter, God's presence remains constant. Your spirit, when rooted in Him, becomes immovable. Your faith becomes unshakable. Your integrity becomes a light that cannot be dimmed. And in the silence of isolation, in the pressure of separation, in the weight of misunderstanding, God strengthens you, equips you, and prepares you for the fullness of His plan. Do not allow bitterness to take root. Bitterness is a slow poison that clouds the mind, hardens the heart, and blinds the soul. Every moment you allow resentment to linger, every thought that nourishes anger, every memory that feeds the fire of frustration, weakens your spirit. When tested by someone close, your response must be guided by God's love and wisdom. Choose to release the bitterness. Choose to embrace patience. Choose to act with integrity, and God's power will flow through you in ways that defy human understanding. Do not forget that tests from those closest to you are often the most profound blessings in disguise. God allows these trials because He trusts you to rise, to reflect His wisdom, to demonstrate His power. The greater the intimacy, the greater the challenge, the greater the opportunity to shine as a vessel of divine light. Every trial from a loved one is a call to transcend human weakness, to operate in a higher realm of spiritual awareness, and to manifest the qualities that only come from a life fully surrendered to God. And hear this: your endurance is a testimony. Every act of patience, every moment of forgiveness, every response guided by divine wisdom becomes a beacon of light. Others may not understand, others may not see, others may not appreciate, but God sees, God honors, God multiplies. The trial that sought to weaken you becomes the platform through which your spirit rises. Your character is refined, and your faith becomes a fort that no human action can penetrate. Understand this: trials from those close to you are divine instruments, not random occurrences. God orchestrates every challenge, every difficulty, every moment of tension to achieve His perfect purpose. The one who tests you is a tool, a messenger, an instrument in the hands of God. And when you respond with integrity, with patience, with unwavering faith, the trial transforms from an obstacle into an opportunity. It becomes a stage upon which God's power is revealed, His wisdom demonstrated, and His glory manifested through your life. Do not be discouraged by the temporary discomfort. The one testing you may provoke frustration, disappointment, or pain. Yet these are fleeting compared to the eternal strength, clarity, and spiritual maturity that emerge when you remain faithful. Every struggle is a seed. Every moment of endurance is water, and every act of obedience to God cultivates a harvest of power, wisdom, and peace that cannot be measured by human standards. Do not allow human actions to define your peace. The one who tests you may seek to destabilize, manipulate, or confuse, but true peace comes only from God. Anchor yourself in God's presence. Align your thoughts with His wisdom. Respond in accordance with His guidance. When your spirit rests in God, no human trial, no challenge from those close to you can shake the foundation of your soul. You become immovable, indestructible, radiant in faith, and unassailable in spirit. Do not underestimate the long-term impact of your responses. Every moment you act in alignment with God, every choice to forgive rather than retaliate, every moment of patience rather than reaction sets a precedent. Your spirit is being sculpted, your character is being fortified, and your faith is being magnified. When others witness your response, they see not human perfection, but the power of God working through a faithful heart. And this power, unseen yet undeniable, ripples through generations, through relationships, through every sphere of influence God has placed you in. Now hear me, and hear me with the deepest part of your soul. The trials from those closest to you are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to awaken you. God has placed these moments in your life to show you the power that resides in a heart fully surrendered, in a spirit fully anchored, in a soul that refuses to be shaken by human weakness. The one who tests you may act with malice, ignorance, or self-interest, but God acts with wisdom, with justice, with purpose. And when you choose to rise above the human impulses of anger, bitterness, and fear, you become a living testament to God's infinite power and mercy. This is the moment to examine your heart. Ask yourself, where do I place my trust? Where do I find my strength? Is it in human understanding, in fleeting emotions, or in the unshakable, eternal guidance of God? The one who tests you is only a reflection of the challenges you must overcome, a mirror showing you the depth of your faith, the strength of your patience, the courage of your spirit. God calls you to stand unwavering, to respond with wisdom, to forgive freely, and to act in accordance with divine truth. When you do not merely survive, you triumph. You rise to heights that only the faithful can reach. You shine with a light that only God can place, and you become unshakable in the storms of life. Do not allow this test to leave scars of resentment or wounds of doubt. Let it leave instead the mark of courage, the imprint of wisdom, and the legacy of faith. Let it transform your heart into a sanctuary where God's guidance flows freely, a fortress where your spirit is protected, a lamp that illuminates the path of righteousness, not only for you, but for all who watch and learn. Every trial from someone close is an invitation to reflect God's glory, to magnify His wisdom, and to become a beacon of unshakable faith. So rise now, rise fully, rise boldly. Let every act of patience be your declaration of divine strength. Let every moment of forgiveness be your proclamation of God's justice. Let every choice, guided by wisdom, be a testimony that your spirit belongs to God and God alone. The trial before you is not an end, it is a sacred opportunity. The test may be fierce, the pain may be real, but the victory is certain for those who anchor their hearts in God. Walk forward with courage, with clarity, with conviction. Stand firm when the waves crash. Speak with wisdom when provocation comes. Act with love when misunderstanding rises. Forgive when the human heart resists. Anchor yourself in God when the world seems to falter. And know this: every moment of faith, every act of patience, every step taken in alignment with God transforms not only your life, but the very fabric of your destiny. Today, in this moment, commit your heart fully to God. Let no test, no challenge, no betrayal shake your soul. Rise above fear, rise above doubt, rise above the limitations of the human spirit, and let God's power flow through you. For those who endure with faith, those who act with wisdom, those who love with patience, God's glory will shine in ways unseen. His favor will uphold you in ways unimaginable, and your spirit will stand eternal, unshaken, and radiant. Rise and let the est of someone close become the triumph of your faith. Rise and let your heart be unbreakable, your spirit unstoppable, your life a testament to the infinite power, wisdom, and love of God. Walk forward now, fully surrendered, fully trusting, fully alive in the presence of God, and let every step you take echo with the eternal strength that only God can give. This is your moment. This is your call. This is your destiny, shaped and sanctified by God, to walk boldly, to endure victoriously, and to shine eternally.